One thing I've been really excited for lately is that new Marvel CMF. So I went out the other day and I bought all 12, so today we're taking a look at all of them. And even though I'm not technically late with this review, a lot of other people have already got their reviews out because they've been in LAN or they got them from somebody in LAN. So sorry you've had to wait so long for my review, and also thanks for watching my review. I actually had to go to a shop to get these things. But then that does ponder the question of, did I waste my money or not? And yes, that means I paid for them. So are these figures worth the £42 you're going to be paying retail? I'm going to do this in a relative order, so we're going to start off with WandaVision, move on to Captain America and the Winter Soldier, all the way to What If, and then with the What If ones we'll kind of get into a bit of a random order because not all the episodes are out yet. So let's take a look at the first figure. WandaVision was actually one of my least favorite shows when it first came out on Disney+. I didn't really get it, and I didn't really like the way that they were going with it. I thought it was a fun visual style, but definitely something I didn't see coming out of the MCU. Because it was the MCU, I continued watching, and by the time we got to 3 and 4, I actually started to quite like the show. But I never will forget how ridiculous I found those first 2 episodes. And even though I actually now quite like those episodes in the whole grand scheme of the series, definitely think we should have got more than just 3 figures from WandaVision. This figure definitely doesn't disappoint. This is Wanda from the end of the show. A lot of the figures tend to be from the ending of the show. I saw a lot of people complaining about this hairpiece. Frankly, I don't mind the hairpiece. I think it's right up LEGO's alleyway of what they do, as in printing the crown and not doing some sort of dual molded setup. Yeah, it's annoying it's not one, but I frankly don't mind. What I can't forgive them for, however, is this face print. I think this face print is actually god awful. Considering this face is meant to be from the end of WandaVision when she was either going back crazy or looking extremely depressed. And either of these face prints don't scream that to me at all. Even the one with the red eyes just looks strange with this weird smile. But if you're planning on keeping these figures purist, don't really worry about this step. If you don't mind swapping out faces, I really recommend using this one from the Age of Ultron sets, as I feel this head really encapsulates Wanda from the end of the WandaVision series, looking angry with the red eyes and then looking just sort of stern with the normal facial expression on the other side of the head. Overall, a really good figure, just don't really like the face print all that much. I can definitely see myself using these arms and maybe the legs in other projects. Moving on to Vision. Now there's actually not a lot to say about this guy, apart from I really like him. Again, I have the same problem that I had in my sort of roundup video of this. He is clearly based off of concept art and not based off of the thing we actually see in the WandaVision series, which is understandable. It's not like LEGO would be able to just sort of recall all these figures and then put the correct blueprinting on him. Frankly, I don't really mind that it kind of looks like this. Especially love the arm and side leg printing on this guy. And it makes me long for a future CMF where we can get a normal looking Vision, as I assume later on films he will go back to his normal colors. Having an extremely detailed Vision figure would be awesome in his normal colors. One thing to note about this figure is it actually has a spongy cape rather than a sort of more solidy plasticky cape that Wanda has. I thought it was strange that they'd include a spongy cape with this guy, but then a sort of more materially cape for the other guy. I also really like the fact that these CMFs come with these little clear pieces on jumpers, just because every single figure comes with them, and obviously you're not going to use it with every single figure. So being able to prop up some of your figures like this really does make them a lot more cool in my opinion. As for the accessory, I don't really understand why he comes with a laptop. I actually would have preferred this guy to not come with an accessory, allowing maybe another accessory for another character, or maybe coming with the dead Vision head, as the figure is light bluish grey, and then that could have sort of represented the fact that he desaturated at the end of the film. I don't know, it would have been a cool concept. Would have preferred that to be his accessory and this laptop to actually be Monica's accessory. Speak of the devil herself, now this figure is incredibly boring. Now this figure is not the best figure on this list. I do find it nice because it means that we're getting some white arm printing, and it's always nice to get white arm printing in CMF, especially when it looks like shoulder pads. I see this working a lot for sort of Star Wars figures. I also think it's nice to get more minifigures in this darker skin tone. Just allows more possibilities for the future in terms of making other figs from other franchises. That goes with the same hairpiece as well. This is a brand new hairpiece, and frankly I think it looks amazing. I really do like the way that this hairpiece looks, but overall it's just a bad figure. Like I say, would have been better with this laptop accessory. Helicopter just falls apart too much in my opinion. Don't know if you guys have the same problem. Moving on to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I actually really love Falcon. He's actually one of my favorite figures in this entire thing, mainly because just look at him. I think this has to be in line with probably one of the most detailed LEGO figures LEGO have ever produced. Every single surface is printed. Only that, he has dual molded arms, dual molded legs, and he comes with an accessory that's also printed, being his little Red Wing drone, but I don't know if it's called Red Wing now because it's blue. Frankly, I just love this figure to bits, and I already have another figure because I want to take him apart and use his hairpiece, use his wings. I want to use all of these pieces in another project that I have coming up. I also think that it's amazing that we get so many shields in this CMF. This is just the first of many, and it is actually a different print to other Captain America shields we've seen in the past. So I'm glad that LEGO are actually paying attention and really trying with things like this Marvel CMF. I know that Marvel figures have been incredibly lackluster in the past, and hopefully this is just a clear example of them changing that tactic and trying to treat it a bit more seriously. Speaking of a little more serious, here we have the Winter Soldier. Now, I actually really like this figure. I missed out on all of the Winter Soldier sets when they first came out, so I'm glad finally to have a Bucky Barnes in my collection that has the printed arm and everything. Still tempted to go back and get some of those sets though. I really enjoyed this figure. He's nothing massively special, but I enjoyed the fact that he has leg printing, and I also think that it's cool that he comes with the shield as well, so you're getting spare shields. I also think at this point LEGO wouldn't know who would be taking the shield at this point because the series wouldn't have come out, so they just included a shield with both, and that's probably why you see shields with both characters. I also think it's nice that he comes with a knife. To me, the Winter Soldier's weapon has always been a knife, and I really quite like the fact that LEGO didn't get all funny the fact that they have a knife in this set. Overall, a nice character, but a solid mid-tier one for me. Unfortunately, that's it for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But moving on to Loki, now we have Loki himself. I actually really like this figure. It's really nice to see the serious black hairpiece done in this black color, which by the way I did cool, as I think Tom Hiddleston's hair definitely looked more like the serious black hairpiece in this series than anything else that we've seen before. And it's really nice to see that they've finally given him a dedicated face print. And even though I don't really like the smile, I really prefer the other stern look and think it looks a lot like the actor. I especially love the variant jacket. I really like the fact that it says variant on the back. I really liked looking forward to seeing this in my speculation video, and it looks as awesome as I thought it would, and I see myself using parts like his legs in other builds in the future, and maybe that face print. Now this guy comes with some very special accessories. Now this is Throg. Now this is an entire figure basically in itself. I'm still not giving up on the fact that if they do a Groot in the future, there's a potential that we could get a baby Rocket based on this figure. And I really like the fact that this is a new mold. It definitely is a new mold because it comes with the hammer and that's not inserted after the fact, and it comes with a helmet, so it's not just a normal frog mold with some other bits attached. No, this is definitely a brand new mold. I like the printing on the torso, and it's definitely a fun accessory to have. He also comes with a TVA mug. Now again, it's a TVA mug, there's not really much to say about it, but I'm glad the attention to detail was put in here because they could have just included a mug. So Sylvie is one of those characters which is really, really bad, which is really unfortunate to say. I actually really like her torso and the headpiece, but that's pretty much it. She's one of the only figures in this series that doesn't come with leg printing. Not that I think she really needs it, but it would have been nice to see. I would have especially loved to see that cape piece. I thought this figure was meant to come with the Reaper cape, the same one from the Overwatch sets. Well, I guess that's why you never really trust leaks. But I think that would have made up for the fact that maybe she doesn't have the leg printing, and the face print is just awful. This face print is not a bad face print. The only problem I have with it is it doesn't look at all like the actress that played the character in the show, and that's vitally important when you're trying to copy likeness to LEGO. And although I'd call her a protagonist throughout most of this series, you gotta remember that towards the first half of this series, she was actually the main villain of the series. So seeing this cheeky smile on the figure just makes it look really bad in my opinion. Now, it's an easy thing to do, and it's obviously switch out the heads. Personally, I've chose this one. Now this is Padme from the Pod Racer set. I think this face print is the perfect one to use as it gives a sort of blank expression for the normal face print, but then also has the angry face print on the other side, but when she's really trying to beat up Loki or something along those lines. I've not seen anybody else really use this headpiece much, so go ahead and try it. If you've got the Pod Racer set, feel free to swap it out. I think this one just looks way better in my opinion, and she's a cheap figure if you want to buy her on Bricklink. As for accessories, you get two of these little green swords, which is cool. I like the fact that you get two of them, but she never really wields two of them, and they're silver in the show, so it's a bit strange that they're green. I think it's mainly just meant to represent the magic side of it, because I think she pulls it out of magic thin air kind of thing. And also we get the Loki crocodile, which doesn't have the helmet, and everybody's already talked about this all the time, and I'm not the first one to talk about this at all. Kybrick Builds did a very good alternative for the helmet. That's personally the best one that I've seen. Go and check out his video and use his method, link will be below. Personally, that's the best way I think of making this crocodile figure more accurate to the show. Now for what if. Now we're going to go in somewhat of an order here because 2 of the episodes have come out at this point. So the first one is Captain Carter. Now I actually really like this figure. I think it's one of the best figures, even though the episode was crap in my opinion. But the main reason I like this figure is because it's basically the fix for all of our other Captain America figures. The biggest gripe I've had about Marvel figures for a long time is that they refuse to give all of their characters leg printing and arm printing when they really do need it, and Captain America's been one of those clear examples for about the last 10 years. So now with this Captain Carter, you can clearly make a really nice Captain America using the arms and legs off of this character. Even though I really do like the hairpiece and the face print on this character, making it look a lot like the actress that played Peggy Carter in the original film, she's just not a character I care about in terms of the Captain Britain aspect of things, but definitely one of the top tier figures from this Marvel CMF. As for accessories, I really do like the shield that she's got. It's a really nice variation on the classic Captain America shield, and probably one gathered from concept art. I'm just glad they kept it like this for the original show. However, I will repeat what I said in my previous video about how this figure is so high tier that it actually makes the Captain Carter from the Hydra Stomper set look like a cheap knockoff. I know it's a different suit and all, being the stealth suit, but again, we're yet to see it in What If, and it uses a standard hairpiece rather than the new one that they've made for this CMF. Even if you had given the Hydra Stomper version this same face print and same hair, would have been a much improved figure, and nobody would have cared that it's the same one from this CMF because of all the new printing. It's just an annoying observation that I've made. Moving on to Chadwick Boseman's Star-Lord. Again, this is one of the only figures that I think is going to make all of your other figures look good. I've not really been liking What If so far. Unfortunately, it's one of those cases where the first 2 episodes have been rather crap for me. Now, I'm going to continue watching it because obviously I found WandaVision to be the same situation. When we got to episodes 3 and 4, it started to get quite good, but it's not making me actually want these figures. It's making me want these figures so I can make my other figures look more accurate. For example, I now have a way better looking Chadwick Boseman head for my Black Panther figures, and I now have way better looking legs for my original Star-Lord looking figures. And as much as I like these What If figures, I'm really liking them for the part out more than I am the actual figure themselves. But I think that's for the overall summary, so I'll get back to that in a little bit. As for this figure, I really do like the fact that we get a new Star-Lord helmet, and I really do like that it's the newer version of the Star-Lord helmet. I definitely see this piece going for a lot of money on the aftermarket when this set has retired, as that old one is roughly around £8 if you want to buy it on Bricklink. I also really like the fact that it comes with a new hairpiece. They're really going all out with the new hairpieces of this series, but this one here, just definitely not the best figure in my opinion. And now moving on to, unfortunately, what I think is the bottom tier figure, and it is Gamora. Now, don't get me wrong, I really like the printing on Gamora, and I really like the fact that we finally got dual molded arms in the green and the black, but again, they have printing on them. I'm going to repeat what I said in my previous video, which is it would have been nice to get unprinted arms so we could use these arms for our old Gamora figures. I know LEGO doesn't really think about that sort of stuff when they come to make these figures, and obviously this character is going to have armor. But I would have much rathered a Ninjago armor piece or something along those lines to represent that, and then have the normal clear arms. So long as the hairpiece worked with the armor plate, I think it would be fine. Other than that, the armor plating is just fairly standard. I can see you using it in other figures, and also the face print is really good. I'm not sure if it's like the same of the ones we got before, but I really do like this face print, and I think I will use it on my Gamora figures when I come to make my own really nice detailed ones. And you never know, I might use the eraser method to just get rid of those arms. It's technically still purist, but hey, we'll see in the future. Now moving on to 2 of the best figures out of this entire pack. We're going to start with... This figure is frankly amazing, and I know people have complained that we're getting a lot of Captain Americas in this series, which, you know, it's an observation I've made as well, but frankly, when they look this good, I really don't mind. I think this is going to pair well with the Falcon and Winter Soldier figures, as we know this version of Bucky to be in this series as well, so it kind of works with both of these. But this figure is frankly amazing, and from somebody who collects zombie figures, just makes me wish my other zombie figures looked this good, with all the arm printings, the rips, everything. It just looks awesome. And it's also a case of this shield. This shield is perfect for your endgame Captain Americas, as we all know that the endgame shield gets like basically ripped in half, and this battle damaged looking shield is a great representation of that shield. So now with the Peggy Carter arms and legs and this shield, you can definitely make the ultimate endgame Captain America figure. And even this helmet is battle damaged as well. Maybe you could even use the torso, as there's not really enough zombie stuff on the torso. Make a full-on battle damaged Captain America. I think that'd be a really cool idea. Really an amazing figure, and I can't wait to see episode where this guy is introduced, and the Zombie Slayer Spider-Man, which just might be my favorite figure in this entire series. A lot of people do put him in this sort of mid-tier category in terms of how nice he looks, but if you ask me, this is one of the best Spider-Man figures we've had from LEGO. Red and blue just pop really nicely, and it's actually one of the first Spider-Man figures I think actually looks nice in the brighter blue rather than the darker blue. Yes, we have that cape in there, but like I say, it's just a plasticky cape that you can remove, and then all of a sudden you've got a Spider-Man figure. Some of my favorite details of this suit is the wrapped around full silver web shooters, really reminding me of the classic Spider-Man, things like the live action TV show. More info on that is in my Daily Bugle building if you guys want to go and check out that video as well. And not only does this Spider-Man feel like the best Spider-Man that we've had in a long time, it also comes with what I think to be a Tom Holland head, which, believe it or not, is the very first actual print for Tom Holland that we've had that isn't a reused head in some form. It's a brand new print, and I really do think it looks like Tom Holland. I don't particularly like this hairpiece. I still think the Han Solo hairpiece would look better, but in terms of the face print, this is just perfect. I already have 3 of these figures now, just to try and stock up on that Tom Holland face print. I said I'd compare it to the Civil War suit. Well, this is it compared to the Civil War suit, and also with the Tom Holland head on that Civil War suit, and this is exactly why I said I'd be getting multiple of this figure. This figure is the best figure out of this entire CMF for me, as it just has so much more possibilities for things and projects that I want to do in the future. Hell, even that mask looks better on the Civil War suit than the original Civil War suit did. And I'm sure that will be the same for the new upcoming Spider-Man sets that are coming in the future. Definitely something to stock up on if you're into Spider-Man, because this mask is going to work in so many more situations than you think. That's not even mentioning the Peter Parkers you can make with that new head print. I really hope we get a reuse of this face print, or at least something similar to this face print with the new No Way Home sets. We've still got 2 yet to come out. If you guys want to see my predictions for that, you can go ahead and click the button at the end card on the end of this video. Overall for this CMF, I think it's a really nice CMF. It's got 12 figures in it, which is actually really good in my opinion. I could buy all 12 of them rather than having to buy like 16 or 18, which definitely would have felt like I broke the bank a lot more. I definitely think that this new 12 situation is way better than something like the 16 or the 18. Hey, that's just my opinion. I did try and look for those boxes of 6, but unfortunately they didn't seem to be sold at my LEGO store. I was really interested to see what they would have been like, but I'm sure we'll see other reviews of that pretty soon. But the main thing I want to talk about in this sort of overall aspect of the series itself is where this could possibly go for the future. I think this has definitely been one of the most popular CMFs that I've seen ever. I think this has definitely outweighed some of the other stuff, and the only one I could see possibly being more popular than this is a Star Wars CMF. So hopefully that means that we get an Infinity War version where we can get some of these really classic figs in some really nice printing. I really don't mind the fact that this has come with such random obscure figures, because like I say, I can use some of these parts from my older figs and definitely make them a lot more detailed. But one of the main problems I have with this series is that there was too much emphasis into What If and not enough current focus on things like WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the current live action series that the MCU is trying to dabble into. I would have loved 4 or 5 figures each for these series, and then maybe 2 or 3 from What If. This would have allowed us to get things like US Agent and or Zemo, because we don't really see any enemies in this series, and we would have loved to see some sort of playable aspect in that regard. But overall, a series that I really do love. I really hope they do another one in the future. Maybe an Infinity Saga one, maybe another Disney Plus one. We'll see where it goes. It's like I said in my old video, if we had to kickstart it off with this series now to maybe get an Infinity Saga one in the future, then I'm all down for that. I highly recommend all of these figures to everyone, including that Monica figure. I know everybody hates that Monica figure, but I think she's quite good. Anyway, let me know what characters you are most excited for in the comment section below. Let me know if you actually own any of these figures yet, and I will speak to you guys in the next video. Goodbye.